we're headed to my local LZ called Cliff Cave Park. I'm gonna finally test out some GoPro audio with my headset, with my helmet. Thanks to Only Butt Fans. Sorry, I thought my door was open. Freaked out there for a second. Yeah, thanks to Only Butt Fans, I got this sweet helmet, and it's actually his helmet because I've been too lazy to make my own. Sorry, Kelly, but thank you. But the muffs and the audio stuff is all mine, just borrowing his bucket. But I finally hooked that all up and to my GoPro, and I wanted to share a story while I was testing all this. So I thought, what better story than when I got in some, I would say some state trouble down in Georgia, flying around some potentially dangerous airspace, and I was accused of delivering some contraband. So pretty interesting story, so check it out. Unfortunately, you know, when you do these things, the cameras and there's all these extra distractions. Unfortunately, my GoPro recorded vertically and angled straight down at my legs, so my angles aren't great, but it's my first go. So tell me what you guys think. If you like the story, if you like what you're seeing, you know the deal. Hit the subscribe, hit the like button, share it with your friends. I just had a lot of people at the park that were asking me if I was capturing what I was doing, and they wanted to see what I was doing in the sky. So thought I'd share a little story with you and give you guys a point of view of me while I'm flying. A nice little lovely evening in St. Louis. So without further ado, here's future me in the sky. Alrighty. It's free! Alright. We were rocking two angles. What's up? Look at me, my wannabe Tucker got vlogger. Shout out to Tucker though. Hey, you know, got us all into this. But anyway, let's tell a good story here. So this did not happen at my home LZ where I'm flying right now. This is Cliff Cave Park, which is a pretty I would say advanced LZ on a day with any kind of wind, because it gets a little tricky with the cliff over here to my right, to the west, and the river with the farm valleys over to the east and my left. So the wind can come really ripping through here. It can really get tricky down in the valley between the trees, and the cliff can definitely make for some interesting effects, but once you get above the trees, it's usually pretty good. And when it is calm, it's like an amazing LZ, because it's just like low fields and big, long, like 3-mile stretch. It's pretty great. But anyway, so back to the story. So I was flying in Valdosta, which is like kind of my second home in Georgia. I was flying at the wakeboard park down there. And I flew north a couple miles to go check out this wedding venue property that I was kind of interested in. And anyway, I went to go fly early morning to go check out this property. The wedding venue was very interesting because it's a wedding venue, but it's next to a gun range and also very close to a state highway. So there was two very loud things right there, the highway with trucks coming through and the gun range. The whole time I was on this tour, which was like a Saturday morning, there was like a ton of gunshots going off, which she said isn't typically normal, but you know, what could you say? We're gonna go up a little quick because it's kind of bouncy. Beautiful Oakville, Missouri here, where we're flying over my home. The spills in my home is like that way. So anyway, I was flying around this property, checking it out. Just checking it out from the sky. Got some cool video. It was neat. And then went there with my realtor and actually got to check out the property and all the buildings and facilities and the venue and all the good things. Definitely quickly found out that I was not very interested. Just a little noisy for the country wedding venue vibe they were kind of going for. And I don't really know much about that, but I know that girls don't want gunshots going off during their ceremony. And I don't think guys do either, for that matter. But anyway, so I was back at the place I was staying at, the wakeboard compound, in my van, and I was having lunch, and I got I'm not even sure I got a knock. I just got this agent who popped his head in my van, and he was like, "Excuse me, sir, I believe you were flying over a state facility this morning." And I was just super thrown off. But he immediately started just questioning me, just questioning for the investigation, asking me what times I took off, what times I landed, where I had originally come from, what day I had arrived, and all the such things. Meanwhile, I'm super confused, and I had planned out my flight path to go to this venue, and I had made a pretty good, safe flight, and I was just so confused on what he was talking about. I'm just trying to process it in my mind while he's asking me these, pretty pressing questions or whatever, which I had all the answers for, and I was like, man, I just don't think I flew over a state facility unless it was unmarked or something. And I was just trying to put two and two together, so I finally was like, well, I have my flight path on Gaggle, so I pulled out my Gaggle app, and I showed him where I was flying, my flight path. And then once he, realized that I was in the free and clear, he finally kind of gave me a little bit more information. It was like, oh, well, this morning there was some contraband delivered to our state prison, which was at the same exit of the venue of the property that I was scoping. But when the contraband was delivered, the officers looked up in the sky and they saw your wing. And so, I called the tower, and the tower said you called to ask for permission, and you took off from here, so here I am. And I was like, whoa, what? I was like, yeah, clearly from my Gaggle, you could tell that I didn't fly over the prison at all, or really come even within a mile of it. I was very clear of it. And so, we kind of, I would say laughed it over, but we kind of, breezed it over a bit. And I had mentioned to him that the realtor that I was working with had mentioned to me that a friend of his worked at the prison, and that contraband delivery through drones was one of their biggest problems, massive problems. So he had warned me to not fly over near the prison if I do come down and fly over the property, because he knew I was a paramotor pilot, and he knew I was going to be flying. And so, which through the great training I learned at Aviator Paramotor School in Lake Wales, you definitely don't want to be flying over any prisons at all. Strictly, really, for that reason, is that they may think that you're delivering contraband. So I was nowhere near there. And so as I mentioned this, the agent asked me who my realtor was, and it just so happened that my realtor had pulled into the place that we were at, and I was like, actually, it's Jordan. He's right here. And as soon as I said that, the agent got a phone call, and he got on the phone and was a little bit distracted. And I kind of said hi to Jordan, and Jordan went over to the agent, who was still on the phone, and they're kind of laughing and smiling and kind of having a good time or whatever. And I'm thinking, is this a prank? These guys set me up? But no, it turns out that the friend of the realtor was this guy who was questioning me for delivering contraband in the first place. So it's such a small world that the guy that, the whole reason Jordan warned me was this guy that ended up questioning me. which is just crazy. And a little bumpy here again. Turn back around. Pew. So yeah. But then, so like now that we've got his buddy there, and he realizes that I'm like in the free and clear, he kind of opens up to us and starts telling us all these stories, which I probably shouldn't go into too much detail, but he said that they've caught people with trebuchets or slingshots, like big slingshots, in the woods, because they have to launch the contraband over giant walls. He said that they collected like $46 million worth of cell phones alone in the Georgia State prisons last year. That was just cell phones. He said that they're chasing a lot of the contraband between cell phones and drugs, and some of the other stories he told me were pretty eye-opening. But there was an article that came out a couple days after all of this had happened that talked about a big Operation Skyhawk, I believe it was called. It was a big bust of people delivering contraband via drones. It included some officers that were on the inside, and a lot of prisoners. And I was this close to being a part of it myself, but made for quite an interesting story. And I called my instructors immediately and was like, should I make a NASA report about this? Like, how do I handle this? This is I was so fresh out of school too. I think I was only like a month or two out of school. So yeah, that was quite an interesting, not really flight, but post-flight story. So yeah, so stay away from the prisons, and yeah, it's nice to be able to laugh about it, but pretty serious deal. Yeah, just stay away from those prisons. They will shoot you down, is pretty much what he told me, so avoid that at all costs. We don't want that. That's my story. Yeah, that happened down in Georgia, so if you do fly down there, watch out for prisons, because they are on it. Alright, so we've kind of flown back and forth here a few times. I think it's time to maybe come down low and see what it's like. Whoop! Whoop, 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 whoop. Still a little tricky. Park's pretty empty tonight with people. Get down low in the corn. Oh, I'm not sure if it's more fun to fly this when it's like down low or when it's got real high corn. I think I like it better down low just because it's better outs. Oh, look at that sun popping through. That's a nice look. Shoo! Whoa! So this whole flight is just a test of this microphone, so hopefully you're not getting shit audio. We did a test last night, but the card was full, of course. So it didn't even get to my takeoff, which is sad. But, forgot my glasses tonight, which sucks, especially when you're flying low around all the corn, all these bugs. had so much rain and the river's pretty high lately. So it's pretty flooded back here at the cornfields. But it's still fun to fly. So that was my flight in Valdosta with a little interesting visit from a state agent. But yeah, be careful when you're flying around those state prisons, I guess. Just a fun story. But if you like the vlog in the air type situation, hit the like, hit the subscribe, you know what to do. We'll see you on the next flight. Peace.